What's up, doggies? Episode 6 of Creative Conduit. My dear friend, Jason Krunnfusz, by far one of the most talented people I'm associated with. I feel honored to have him on the cast and talk shop a little bit. I've been aware of Jason for quite some time, always a big fan of his, and then got to join a band with him and become friends, so I'm very grateful for that. So yeah, got the blessing from the wonderful people at Corporate Panda Records to play some of his music for the episode here. So I'm going to play a clip of one of his tunes and we'll get to the conversation.
I couldn't give it up.
So Jason K.
What up?
Welcome to the show, buddy.
Thanks for having me.
I had to call
Big
you up
fan.
had to call you up to the big leagues, man.
Yeah. Glad to be here. It's an honor.
Same. Why don't you take a few moments, tell the folks at home who you are, what you do.
Who am I? What do I do? I'm Jason. I make music for a living. Most famously, probably for a band called Fox out of Wisconsin. But I've done a bunch of other little groups, and I currently have a project called Fuzz, F-U-S-Z. That's just me and my homies
Hell yeah.
doing it in the house, you know.
And why is it called Fuzz? Do you want to drop
My last name's Krunnfusz,
There it is.
spelled Krunnfusz.
Beautiful.
So, and I couldn't think of anything better.
It's a good name.
Yeah, I really like four-lettered misspelled band names.
I actually don't know that much about your musical background because we met somewhat not recently, but in the grand scheme of things. But how'd you get your start in music?
I was my dad was a choir teacher. He's retired now. So that would be, and my mom's a dance teacher, so it was just constant music going on. And my grandpa was was also a choir teacher, and he was an organist for his church and all that good stuff. So music was just, I didn't really have a choice.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, you're doing this. I was in a boy choir when I turned 7, toured the world with that, which was crazy. There's 45 boys under the age of 45, 45 boys under the age of 14, and then just go, I went to Ireland, and we were there for 2 weeks, where you just tour around Ireland in a bus, and then sing at churches and community halls.
Wow.
I was 10 maybe. I just think my dad's insane for thinking that he should do that. So
I could not imagine, touring was weird enough as, an early 20s dude, but, at 10 years old, was it awesome or was it just wild?
Oh, I mean, it was cool. It was pretty regimented. It was you got your daily schedule. It was you have to be on the bus by 10, and, breakfast was always as a group. But then, we'd stay in hotels and stuff, so it was pretty organized. I had to be.
Yeah.
It was way smellier than touring with a band, which is,
Remarkable, honestly.
Yeah, it was you had to have conversations with people hey, you need to put on deodorant. You just have to.
So you got the legitimate all the touring experience right off the bat. That's
yeah.
I didn't know that. That's crazy.
Yeah, so I did that. Yeah, I did that until I was about 12, I think. So yeah, I went to Ireland, Poland. Those are the two main ones. Then we did state stuff as well.
That's awesome. So what kind of music were your folks into?
My dad is like loves choir music. He's big into but like listening pleasure wise would just be like singer songwriter like James Taylor was big on his list, Jim Croce, like that was like his easy. He always had like weird guitar players that I can't even think of the names of. He's like, oh yeah, he's from Nova Scotia, and all of his songs are about ships, and you're like, this is very weird. Okay. And then my mom was just, her first show that she went to was Billy Joel.
Okay.
So she was like more into like the Bruce Springsteen, that whole thing. She'll listen to anything. My mom is down for whatever. So will my dad.
Yeah.
My dad's like just wants to know. Like we'd like drive to hockey games and we'd be cranking Blink-182, just like dad singing along. Very
Hell
funny.
yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So did you have a point where you kind of veered from what they were listening to and kind of had your own musical path?
Yeah. When middle school, I joined a band even though I didn't have an instrument. I was just like, I'll do anything. You guys are cool. I want to be in your band. And we were like fringe friends we had just met, and they're just like, sure. The band was called Girls Bathroom Door.
Incredible.
Yeah. We all had like girl skateboard stickers on our guitars and stuff. Then I got handed a burned CD from Jordan Weiss of Whispered Hollows fame, and it was this local band called Superheroes by Night, and it's just like Ozma, Weezer-esque music, and I was just like, this is it.
Yeah.
This is it for me. This is the best band ever. That's how I learned how to play guitar, was just like listening to that record over and over again and trying to play along.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So when did you start playing an instrument legitimately?
Yeah, that's why I started playing guitar. I played drums and I played percussion in school band, so I started like playing guitar and playing drums all at the same time. I guess I was forced to take piano lessons when I was younger, as most children of choir directors are, and I hated it, but so I quit that as soon as I was allowed to.
I was talking to somebody else on here. I wish that I would have had to take piano lessons, because trying to like figure it out now with a stupid adult brain is just, it ain't fun.
Yeah, everyone who quits taking piano lessons regrets it later in life. It just is a thing. So I'm gonna force my kids to do it too. Hopefully, just have like a cool teacher who like makes it fun. I just wanted to play sports when I was younger, though. I was just like, I don't want to play piano. I want to play basketball. I want to go to Duke,
Yeah.
Which I'm glad I quit that, because being 5'7", not much of a hope there.
Yeah, maybe a fringe point guard, but
Yeah. I guess Muggsy Bogues was pretty short. He made it happen.
if he can do it, anyone can. So
Yeah.
when you started that first band or joined that first band?
6th grade. How old are you in 6th grade? Like 12? 11 or 12?
Something like that.
Yeah, 11 or 12.
And did that last for a while? Did that kind of break off pretty quickly?
That was, we never played it. We played one show, and I had to miss it because I had to go to a family function, and it was just like 4th of July in one of the guys' garage for the cul-de-sac.
Nice.
While everyone was grilling. So that, it was sort of like 6th and 7th grade. And then in 8th grade, everyone started getting into other things. I got pretty serious playing soccer, so I was just like, fuck this. But
understandable.
Yeah, we were terrible. I mean, we were terrible. Yeah.
What bands followed that one?
After that, it was pretty much straight into Whispered Hollows. The good old days.
Yes.
Which is really funny because I knew Ryan. Ryan danced with my mom, so I'd known him since I was like 8 or 9. And then it was at my mom's dance recital, and I was playing air guitar backstage. I was like helping my mom out, and like it was just, I don't even remember what song. But then Ryan saw me. He was just like, "Oh, you play guitar, man?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Dude, you got to be in my band." And I was just like, "Okay." So yeah. I showed up with like my combo crate amp that had like the distortion button on it,
Yes.
And the rest is history, you know? The rest is history.
Yeah.
That was my first real experience, like, being in a band.
Yeah, I mean, I saw you guys a couple times just because at that time I wasn't really going to a lot of shows, but, like, you guys were local legends, man.
Oh, yeah, we played every weekend. What's really funny is I hated hardcore music when I joined the band, but I just wanted to be in a band so much.
Yeah, you just made it work.
I was so bad at guitar. Like, and Julian is, of course, Julian, who you've talked to on this thing, can just, like, play his ass off. And so he'd write all these super complicated parts, and I would just go, yeah, I think I'm going to make up my own part. And then I would just play power chords.
Somebody's got to do that, though.
And that was our whole relationship. Him asking me to get better and me going, nah, I don't think so.
So when did you switch over to bass in that band then?
That was after Ray quit. So I quit the band probably my, I don't know, junior, senior year. I just sort of like had it. I was just like, we're not doing anything. Tired of playing VFWs. So I was just kind of like, I'm out. And then Ray quit a few years later, and they had a show booked. And so Jesse Hansen called me, and so did Ryan, and they were both just like, please? You already know most of the songs? So yeah, that's when I rejoined. That was such a cool band to be in. It's the best when you're the worst musician in the band, but they don't think you're the worst musician in the band. That's when you're going to have a good band.
That's exactly how I felt in the band that we were in together. I was like, I don't fit in here, but I'm having a good time.
And they obviously think we thought you belonged.
Well,
so
the world didn't think we belonged. And
yeah,
we were too powerful and had to fall.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, that band was cool too. Longest Year. Heck, dude.
Yeah. We'll have a reunion one day.
I still put the tracks on every once in a while when I want to get down.
Yeah. So you said you weren't really into the kind of music you were playing. What kind of stuff were you listening to, like late high school, early 20s?
I got into it because I was surrounded by it. I was hanging out with, Julian and Ryan were my best friends, and Ray too, and that was just what we listened to. Mm-hmm. But I always tended to lean more towards, like, I was really into Fall Out Boy, of course, and My Chem and The Used, like early high school, and that transitioned into like, one of my favorite bands of all time still to this day is Circa. So and that's when like On Letting Go came out. Mm-hmm. So that was heaven for me. That and Copeland, I loved Copeland. I was always trying to like push us more to like melodic, pretty,
soft.
Yeah, I was like, we don't need 7 breakdowns. 1 is good.
Yeah, excessive.
Yeah.
I think my very first memory of like seeing you was Circa Survive played at Majestic, and I recognized you from being in Whispered Hollows, and you were sitting in like the VIP area, and you looked extremely important, and I was like, oh my God.
That was a great show.
Yeah, Maps and Atlases blew my mind. Still
the bass player like doesn't play below the 12th fret.
No,
but still somehow has low end. It was great. I think that was like the 3rd time I saw him. I remember the first time I saw him I was at Warped Tour, and I was like, Coheed was playing next, and like it was just like main stage, but the first 5 bands I loved, except for Circa at the time, I like didn't know who they were. So I got there early and just like slammed up against the bar at the front, and I was like, I'm not moving all day. And I didn't. I'm surprised I didn't pass out from being dehydrated. But that was the first time, and I just remember like looking up at Anthony Green and him like possessing the crowd, and me being just like, what is this? And that was it. That was the time it was born. The love.
It's a special thing for sure.
Yeah.
So after Whispered Hollows, was Fox the next band right after that?
Yeah, sort of. I moved to Nashville as soon as I graduated, if we want to do the full timeline, I'll give you way more information than you need.
Dude, I'll take it all.
I moved to Nashville to work for this band called We the Living, which has Matt Holman from Fox in it, and so I moved down here to like be their merch guy, just sort of like their merch guy originally, and then it sort of like then it was sound guy, and then it was like help them book shows. I was just basically their gopher and their grunt worker, and so We the Living was sort of like the next band I was involved in, but I wasn't in it. I wanted to be. I wanted to be in We the Living so bad. They didn't have a bass player, and I was like, guys, hello. But but I was like the lead singer of that band used to babysit me, so it was like a little age difference that I think that kind of weirded him out a bit. And then so that was until I was like 18 to 19, and then after that, oh my God, I just remember when. Ooh. I guess basically though, Fox would have been the next band. We tried to, it was just like everyone moved back to Baraboo that had like gone off and done things, or tried to do things anyway. And it was just, none of us, all of our friends were at college. So it was just sort of like everybody in that band knew each other loosely, had like played with each other at shows, or had been in a band with somebody at some point. I just remembered a different high school band I was in. I'll get back to that. I'll rewind later.
Sounds good.
And so we were just like, I guess we should just hang out because we all play music, right? And that was in Matt Holman's basement. Funny times, crazy times in that basement.
So what was the writing process for that band like? Because, I mean, when I listen to Fox, there's just so much like orchestration going on that like I don't think I could ever write something like that. So I was always kind of curious how it kind of came to be.
Yeah, Monica would show up with, she played a baritone uke. That was like her instrument. And she would show up and she would have her crazy cool melodies and like a very simple chord progression sort of thing. And then she'd like show it to the room. And then we would try and figure it out on the most basic level of like, okay, so now let's play it on acoustic guitar and not do anything else. We had this room called the Wood Room where we would do like all of our acoustic stuff, which was basically a dining room that we put a piano in. So we would just like flesh it out as much as we could with everyone playing a weird instrument, basically, to just try and have fun. And then basically the boys would go into the loud band room and we would sort of like figure out how it was supposed to go musically. And then Monica would come, she was there the whole time, but she would come back and then she'd be like, oh, I don't like this, I like that. And then we would just kind of discuss it, or she would just be like, that's perfect. And then we just let her rip and go. And so she did all the melodies and like all of her own lyrics for that project. That was crazy.
Yeah. That seems like such a cool process that it's not like, hey guys, I show like typically, somebody shows up and they're like, okay, I got this whole song. You guys just play it. But
here's how the song goes. Here's your part. Yeah.
Yeah. But to build it up like that.
Yeah. It made it like, I mean, there were so many of us. At one point there were like 7 or 8 of us. So there was just so many people that when we'd play, it would just be like, this sounds like mush. Like our whole thing that we wanted to do, especially with Monica's vocals being like the airy, very bouncy thing. It was just like dynamics. That's the only thing that we can have. And the easiest way to get quiet is to tell 3 of the people in the band not to play.
Yeah.
So that was always, we sort of had like the Grateful Dead kind of idea of that. It was just like always listen to what everyone else is playing and make sure your part fits. So
Yeah, I mean that's restraint that not a lot of people, especially like early 20s playing music, have. Like,
yeah,
everybody just wants to play all the time, and like even in Longest Year with 3 guitarists, like we all had to take a step back and go, okay, we don't all need to be like blasting these power chords right now, but
yeah, save it for when you do need all of those guitars.
exactly.
You know, I remember you always saying like you wanted to be the quietest and the loudest band at every show.
Yeah, that was always my mantra.
For Township, right? Yeah.
Pretty much for any band I'm in, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that was sort of what we were trying to do, but our loudest would just not actually be the loudest at the show. It's just loud enough that people do know that we can do rock and roll.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just makes you play differently and like think about what you're doing constantly instead of just going like, I know how to play this song. Here we go. Yay. It's over.
Yeah.
Just like, how can I make this mean more to me so I don't get bored of playing the same song over and over and over again?
So what other instruments do you play besides guitar and bass? Or were you playing any like the fun, quirky instruments in the Fox days?
In the Fox days, I started playing guitar, and I was generally like I was the guy who was like, hey, you know how the song goes. You get to hold it down. So that was sort of my job. So I didn't really, like every once in a while, I'd like pull out like an omnichord thing or play a stupid Casio keyboard, but mostly I was you know how the song goes, and you can sing the parts so that we know. Because Monica would get like really overwhelmed with when we're like trying to figure stuff out. So a lot of times we would do band practices without Monica to try and figure out the instrumentation and the orchestration of it. So I sort of adopted the role of Monica Jr. when we were doing that. Yeah. So I didn't get to do a lot of the fun stuff. I got to do a lot of the, you know, I don't want to say it's boring. It was fun. I got to do it. Led me to be more of a producer and like hear parts and be like, that's cool or that's too weird. And normally if I said something was too weird, then they would just go like, perfect, we're doing it.
That's still a barometer for that though, so that's good.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, side note, I always thought it was crazy too how small of a world it was because my best friend in high school, Peter, his roommate ended up being the other Matt in Fox.
Yeah, Mateo.
So there's just like 2 degrees of separation and then even less and even less. So that always blew my mind.
Yeah, that is crazy. Peter's so cool too.
Yeah. Shout out Peter.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what you're up to these days. So obviously Fuzz is your main thing, but you're writing for all sorts of different stuff. What's a week in the life of Jason like musically? It's
sort of like make music every day, just do anything because anything can be used. Which is kind of fun. It's just like if I feel like I want to play riff rock, I can just do that. I can just try go whatever and write a crappy riff and then just save it and then later accompany because we do a lot of commercial work now here because it's the only way you get money. And they'll just be like, yeah, we want like a tough, what's a truck company? And they're like, we need a tough song. And I'm like, here's this. And they'll be like, that's pretty close. And then you're just like, all right, okay, now I got to write another riff song. And then some days it's just like, we need a singer-songwriter-y whatever. And then you try and make up a song for, you know, Sonic cheeseburgers and make it sound pretty and cute. And sometimes it's like you feel like you're insane. We just did one for I'm not supposed to talk about it. I signed an NDA, but we did one for a burger chain. It wasn't Sonic. And they wanted it to be like an Elvis-y Jailhouse Rock sort of thing. So I just got to pretend to be Elvis, but I had to sing the word burger so many times, and it is the worst word to sing of all time.
Yeah. I hate
burger,
saying
burger, 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 burger. You're like, what? am I doing?
I get uncomfortable saying my last name sometimes because of that. So I feel you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how do you kind of approach that creatively? Like you said, you sometimes will just write and then go back to those songs. But if somebody comes up to you and says, "Hey, I need an Elvis song," like how do you get into that headspace?
I just like listen to whatever song they like, or like if they just go like, we want it to be, Radiohead. I'm just like, okay, I know what Radiohead sounds like, and then I just pick up an instrument or sit at a keyboard and just go like, does this sound like Radiohead? Cool, and then just go, and everything we try and get. We're always like, let's just get it done, get it to them. So if they don't like it, we can do another one.
Yeah.
And they can't just go like, we don't like it, we're gonna go with someone else. So we kind of do like a first thought, best thought approach, which is really freeing. It does sometimes things get a little out of control, but usually it ends up being they like it or they like something about it. But yeah, it's sort of just like, what does this need? Okay, it needs a guitar part, and then we just play guitar. There's like no real rhyme or reason, just like drums. Okay, we're playing drums now. All right, here we go. Okay, bass, cool. Let's make it up. We're just gonna hit record and we're gonna do it 10 takes, and hopefully something comes of it. It's a lot of that.
Yeah, so it's a little bit more clinical than like.
Oh yeah, it's very. It's like it's got a structure, but it's a chaos within the structure. We have the guardrails up of like, we need to get this done. We know what the end product's supposed to be. Let's go. But most of the time, it's just like the first chord progression that like Daniel makes up or I make up. So Daniel Pingray's my roommate. He's also a Baraboo cat of the Daniel and the Lion is probably his claim to fame. Just shout out Daniel. We just kind of go off of that, whatever the first thing we play.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know if that's good or bad. I can't tell yet.
I feel like in that circumstance, it's probably good because, I don't know, I'm assuming you don't get very sentimentally attached to the burger song, but I could be wrong.
Oh, no. I mean, I do sometimes, like, just like pops into my head, and I'm just like, sing it.
Well, then I think you did a good job then if it's popping back in your head.
Yeah. That's true. I hope so. We haven't heard back yet, so who knows. But if they don't use it, we get to keep it, so then we just have a burger song. Sell it to some other chain.
I'll buy it.
Yeah.
Any price.
I'll change the words a little bit for you. You can turn it into your theme song.
That's what I'm missing, yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the process like when you're writing fuzz stuff, when it's like for you?
Yeah. I usually lock myself up in the studio, and I don't know. It's been different for every song. Like the first EP, well, the only EP that's out right now, that sort of started when I was just trying to write songs to have in the computer for the company, and then it was just like, ooh, this is good. This is spicy. I like it. And then I just like put it in a secret folder, and then just kept working on them. That was sort of how it happened with all of the first EP. The second one that should be done, but I'm lazy. Was a little more. I knew that I had a band, quote unquote. I knew that I had a project, so it was written a little more specifically. Like, this is my song. I'm not gonna give it to anyone else.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that one was written more in that vein of like consciously knowing it was going to be for me. Because when I was writing the first fuzz stuff, it was just kind of like, try and sell it to someone, and then I got attached to it, and it's just sort of like, well, do it yourself.
Yeah.
If you're gonna give it to someone else, why don't you just put it out? If you think it's good enough for someone else to put out, it's good enough for you to put out.
Definitely. And I remember the first time I heard, I think it was Feels Right. I was over at Andy's house and I heard that song. I was like, Jesus Christ, Jason, chill.
Oh, that one was literally written for, like, I intentionally wrote it like, I'm gonna write a pop song, and then it was that, which is, I still like, I listen to it and I'm like, ooh, that is not me at all, but it is. It is all me. It's very weird. I always want to write like sadder, darker stuff. So, but then I also love it. Like Casanova's poppy as hell too, and that one's really fun.
Dude, that, like, you have obviously an ear for writing things that'll get lodged in people's heads.
Thanks, dude. I try to.
I don't know if you made Andy sign an NDA, but I've definitely heard some of the new stuff too, and it's all...
Oh, no, I didn't. I give him the right to share it with the people that he thinks deserve it.
Good. I don't want to throw him under the bus, but also whatever.
No.
He can handle
he
it.
knows. He knows the rules. He knows the rules. Yeah. The new stuff should be done. I gotta... Maybe if I put it in the public eye, I'll commit to it. But the new stuff should be done... July. I'm gonna give myself some more time. Mid-July. So,
hell yeah.
Fingers crossed. It's
So,
a little more sad, but
that's good. That's what I
Yeah.
like. That's what
Cool.
the people like.
cool.
So let's talk some gear, man.
All right.
What's obviously you're a left-handed person.
I am.
Whatever.
Yeah, the devil's child.
Biggest
Biggest regret of my life is not learning guitar right-handed.
Yeah.
It is. I kick myself every day.
Was it a struggle when you were a lot younger too to like find decent left-handed instruments?
Yeah. I just didn't care though. I was just, oh, I want a telly, and then you could just I just went to Musician's Friend and bought a telly. The biggest bummer is that you don't get anything in cool colors.
Yeah.
It's like sunburst, black, or red.
Yep.
I was like, yeah, but I want a seafoam green telly. So basically all my guitars are those colors. Yeah. So yeah, I have 3 tellies because I don't know why. I bought one after a show that we played.
Yep.
That was a great night. Yeah, so I have some tellies. My baby of a guitar is my 67 Mustang bass. That's left-handed.
Yeah.
That's like, if my house was burning down, I would leave my kids. I'd run in there. I don't have kids, but I would leave the kids. I'd be like, get out, you know how to do it. And then I would grab that guitar. That's like how important it is to me.
When did you pick that one up?
I picked that one up in 2014. 2014. I was in the process of, I've wanted a Mustang bass forever. I just thought they were so ugly, and I love ugly gear. And I couldn't find one left-handed, and I started building one. And then I was just on Reverb, and it popped up, and I was just like, buying it, buy now. I don't even have the money. I don't care. I'll figure it out. I bought it, and it's the best thing that I've ever purchased.
Yeah. So was it just the looks that drew it to you, or was it anything about the sound?
It was mostly the looks. I also really liked the fact that it was short scale because I'm a small man and I look ridiculous holding any sort of regular size bass. I look like a child. So I wanted to. It was like this short scale was nice. I mean, a little bit of the sound. I was always trying to get my P bass that I was playing to sound like that, and I just couldn't. It just wasn't right. So.
Yeah.
That's
I
it.
mean, when I think of you playing an instrument, I think of that bass. It's just iconic for you.
Yeah, it is. It is my thing.
So are there any other pieces of gear you have, pedals, any studio gear that, like, when you're trying to write something, you're in a funk, you go to, and they kind of open up the old valves?
Not really. I use a lot of, like, software instruments. If I'm really bored, or if I have no idea at all, I'll open. We have like the Arturia and the Roland packs and a bunch of other ones, and I'll just like randomly click on one and then just sit there and scroll through every preset until I'm like, ooh, that sounds cool, and then try and write and then just play anything
Yeah.
just to see if it sparks. But pedal wise, I was just, I have that Quiet Theory prelude. That's always nice to just put on and then get lost and play whatever, because it makes everything you play sound better. So that's another one. But no, other than that, I can't sell gear, so I have way too many pedals. That's not true. I don't have enough pedals. Can never have enough pedals. But I can't sell gear, so I've literally kept everything that I've bought my entire life, gear wise. It's like I have like a dirty rat. I never use it. It's not worth anything because I bought it when I was in high school. But it's like, why don't you just get $30 and put it towards a better pedal? But I can't do it.
Yeah. Someday, some situation might come up where it makes sense.
Yeah. You can always, sometimes I just like force myself to plug in old things. Like you're going to make this work. So
I always think that was the biggest difference between us is I would go through like an entire pedal board's worth of pedals in a couple months. Yeah. And then juxtaposed to you that like wouldn't sell anything. I'm like, maybe I'm crazy for this. Maybe not.
No, I don't know. I wish I could, because then you have money to buy new stuff instead of it just sitting on a shelf. But I would rather just work harder and try and make more money to buy more gear.
That's kind of.
I just like feel like I don't even know how to use half the crap that I have. So like you never really find out its full potential unless you keep it around for a while. Yeah. And even then you never do.
Definitely.
You have a computer at your foot now. And I'm like an 80-year-old man. I'm like, how does this work? You gotta press multiple buttons to change settings. I'm like, no, I want all the knobs to be there, and I want to just turn it on. And that's all I want. I don't want to have to unplug and hold up my phone to my pickups. It's crazy. I don't know how they do it.
Yeah.
That's that noise that it makes though, like the TC electronic ones, when it like goes through the pickups, ruins my life. It's the worst sounding thing I've ever heard.
It's like the dial-up tone on acid.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Which is actually kind of sick when you think of it that way. But so Jason, what have you been listening to during this beautiful, crazy time?
Let's see. Let me pull it up, because I don't know. I mostly just like, it's terrible. I just put on my Discover Weekly, and then if I like something, I'll just listen to their record or somebody's record. I made this playlist to put songs on that I wanted to inspire the new EP. So I've been listening to that one a lot.
Yeah.
For a long time. Oh yeah, it's all just stupid Discovery stuff. I love the sad indie playlist. I love staying up late and listening to that. There's this record by Eddie Arnold called The Last Word in Lonesome Is Me. And that gets spun quite a bit in this house. It's like, I don't know, there's something about it. It's cheesy, it's beautiful, it's terribly sad. It's just the perfect combo.
I'll have to check that out. That sounds.
Yeah. It's very weird.
I like the name alone.
Yeah. It's like, I don't even know what year it's from, but it's got like the crazy background singers, like 4 full choruses singing, like, so that's a fun one that I've been listening to a lot.
You've been watching a lot of video game streams?
Yeah, I was watching there's a PUBG tournament on. I was watching that before you called. I watch a little bit of PUBG every day. It's always PUBG. I don't care about any other video game. Which is really a bummer because it's such a terrible game.
I just remember when Andy came back from Nashville one of the first times and he was telling me about that. I was like, who the fuck are you guys? Like, I would not expect y'all to be the ones that are watching that, but
Yeah. I don't even play it. I don't play PUBG. I played it 3 games. I won one, and I was like, all right, that's it. I just watch it every day.
Yeah.
Which is really insane. But I guess, like, I don't play football, and I still watch football on Sundays.
I mean, that's a little more of a stretch, but I'll give you that.
Yeah, it's a little more normal for sure.
All right, Jason. Well, I appreciate you coming on here and chatting
dude.
with your old bud.
Hopefully I gave you all the information you needed.
You gave me all the nugs I was looking for.